So, we're going to talk about our special cases today. To graph special cases of linear equations. Special cases, guys, are the horizontal and the vertical ones. Now, those are lines, guys, that only have one variable. Does everybody agree all the other lines, that was at two variables, right? What were those two variables? Harrison. X and Y. Okay? We learned how to solve them, put them in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? There were always two variables, y and x. When one of the variables is gone, it's either a vertical line or a horizontal line, and we have a great trick to help you keep that straight. Okay? We're going to use our German friend, and his name is Vux Hoy. V-U-X. That's his first name. Hoy. That's his last name. And you'll see why I use capital letters. Okay? And that's going to help us graph these special cases. Vux Hoy. Everybody kind of say that in their head a couple times. Put it in the long-term memory. Key is that you need to spell them correctly. All right? And it's actually, what do you call something where it's a where it's like letters that really stand for totally something else? You guys ever heard of an acronym before?
Oh, yeah.
Guys, that's just an acronym that's going to stand for some of these special cases. All right, watch this. All right, you got to write down which word it is in each case. Everybody jot down the word Vux down the side, going straight down, not across. Those letters stand for something very specific. Okay, and you need to know what those letters stand for. Somebody want to take a guess at what the V stands for? Think. Henning? Yeah. Vertical line. So if we're talking a vertical line, guys, we're talking about our buddy Vux. Okay? I don't think you'll get what that stands for yet. Everyone want to take a guess?
Underline.
No. Undefined slope, which is the same thing as no slope. So a vertical line has an undefined or no slope. And then the x means it's an x equals line. And once we do a couple of these, you'll be like, oh, I get where the x comes from. So these three letters, guys, work forwards and backwards. Sometimes you're going to get an x equals line. You need to know it's Vux. Sometimes you're going to know that the slope is undefined. That means it's Vux. Sometimes it's going to be a vertical line. That means it's Vux. Okay? Again, when you have this situation, you want to write this word down. Matthew, question.
Wouldn't it, isn't X horizontal now?
The x-axis is horizontal. Very good catch. That's all.
Ooh.
Okay? You can turn off my iTunes. Sorry about that. But yeah, but you're going to see that an x equals line, Matthew, actually is vertical. The x-axis goes this way. X equals lines are vertical. All right, over on this other side, guys, everybody jot down the word Hoy. Don't blurt it out, but what does the H stand for? Come on, everybody knows that. Colin.
Horizontal line?
Guys, it's a horizontal line. Okay? The O. They got it last. I couldn't believe it, but somebody figured it out what the O stood for. Catch on to the pattern. Antonio? No, good guess though. Good guess. It has to do with graphing and slope and all that stuff. Does not have to do with the origin. Great guess though. Matthew? What's that?
One slope.
No, but you're very close. It does mean something about the slope. Phoebe?
Official slope?
What slope? It's not an official slope. I think you're just making up words there. Billy?
Overdefined slope.
No.
Original?
No.
I meant original slope.
Not original slope. I don't know what an original slope is. You're an original person, but that's neither here nor there. Matthew?
Origin slope.
No.
Only slope.
Guys, the O doesn't even stand for an O.
0.
It's a number.
Zero slope. No slope.
0 slope. Okay? The O in Hoy doesn't even stand for an O. It's the number 0. And then I think everybody can figure out what the Y stands for. Catch on to the pattern. It's a Y equals line. So all of our special cases are either going to be bucks or they're going to be poi. And you got to jot that word down. 3 letters for the special cases. Now, watch how we put all this stuff together. Y equals 3. You got to state the slope and the y-intercept of each line, and then we're going to graph the line. Okay, you ever got the straight edges out? Let's roll. Okay, y equals 3. Everybody figure out which word are we talking about for that special case. Raise your hand, don't blurt it out. Let's go. Coffee. Hoi. Okay, because it's a y equals line, he went right to hoi. Y equals 3. Okay? Connor, look at the letters of what hoi stands for. Can you tell me the slope of this line?
0 slope.
Guys, m equals 0. All right? Now, before we even state the y-intercept, let's graph it. It's actually pretty simple to graph. Y equals 3. Connor, what kind of line is it?
A Y line.
But vertical or horizontal? Guys, we know the slope, and we know that it's a horizontal line from our buddy Hoy. So what I want everybody to do is everybody go to where y equals 3 on the graph. Put a big old point. Grab your straight edge and draw a horizontal line through that point. Grab your straight edge and draw a horizontal line through y equals 3. You guys will do these much faster when you're doing your homework. Just follow with us for this time being. All right, now let's figure out what B or does everybody agree that B is the same thing as the y-intercept?
Yeah.
Right? B and y-intercept are one and the same. Look carefully at that line. Where does that line cross the y-axis? What's the B for this problem? Pedal cow.
3.
3. Right there. Okay. So we graphed it. We stated the slope and the y-intercept, and it was hoi. Horizontal line, 0 slope, y equals line. What word are you going to write down on B? Callie Christie. Bucks. This guy is our buddy Bucks. Cal, what's the slope of that line? I can't understand. I don't understand what you're saying. It's either undefined, you can write undefined or no slope. Those are one and the same. Okay? And then I'm going to talk about these two lines as far as their slope here in a second. All right, everybody go. All right, so we know it's a vertical line, undefined slope. It's an x equals line because x equals -1. Everybody go on the x-axis, not the y-axis, and put a big old point where x equals -1. X equals -1 on the x-axis. Now, grab your straight edge and draw a, what kind of line? Vertical line. Make sure to understand what the word vertical means. At x equals -1. Where does that line cross the y-axis? Pavone. Crosses the x-axis at -1. Where does it cross the y-axis? Nowhere. Guys, B or the y-intercept, not 0. There's none. Guys, it's what's the word when it runs alongside of it and never intersects it?
Parallel.
Parallel. Everybody say parallel.
Parallel.
An x equals line is parallel to the y-axis. It will never hit it. Okay? Now, Another way to remember the slope of horizontal lines and vertical lines. This is what I used when I was in high school, guys. I totally remember this. Everybody go back to the y=3 line, the horizontal one. Watch this. You can make a Z out of that line. Does everybody agree?
Yeah.
I would do it with 0 because I could make a Z out of it. The other one, I can make an N out of it. And this told me it was no slope. And I remember writing those things down on my lines when I was in high school. 0 slope, no slope. Other way to think about it. This horizontal line, the first one, if you went skiing on it, would you go anywhere?
No.
No. Okay? You would go 0. What if you went skiing on this one? You would die.
You would hit the wall.
You do not want to go skiing on this one, so no slope. You would go 0. You would be okay here. You wouldn't go anywhere. It'd be 0. This one would not be good.
You could
Yeah. Things would not go well. All right, jump to the next one. Write the word down. See if you can graph it. Go. Henley, what word? It's Vox. So what kind of line is it going to be, Tara? Vertical line. And make sure go to x=2. Put a big old point where x=2 and draw a vertical line. And then, Tara, talk to me. Give me the slope and the y-intercept.
No slope.
Genius. And? So the x= lines, guys, have no y-intercept. Teddy, question.
That was my question. Like, will a vertical line ever have a line?
I think it's going to run parallel to it forever, so no. Right? The y= lines hit it at that point, but these x= lines don't. Phoebes, question.
Why is the bigger y none?
Okay. Where will that blue line hit the y-axis? Never. It runs parallel to it. And remember, that's what the y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. Or what we use the variable b in slope-intercept form, that, and they'll never hit it. That make sense?
Yeah.
It's tricky. Catherine,
How do you know which line to put it down?
which point?
Like, how do you know if you put on like this line or that one? How do you know which?
Y=3. Where does y=3?
Oh, okay, so it's y.
Because the problem tells you kind of which axis to put it on. Do you agree? X=(-1). So I'm going to go to the x line, the x-axis, and put a -1. X=2. X-axis, I'm going to put a point at 2. Does that make sense? All right, let's try a few more of these. Jump to the back. You guys are doing great. Tara Burke, what word are we going to write down for letter D?
What?
Hoy. Catherine, where am I going to put a point to start with?
-1 on the up and down.
Exactly, on the y-axis, guys. Everybody put a... And then back to Tara Burke. What kind of line is this? Horizontal or vertical? Everybody use your straight edge. Draw a horizontal line at y=(-1). Tara, what's the slope of that bad boy? It's not no slope.
Oh, 0.
It's 0 slope. And what's the y-intercept, Tara? Or what's the b? -1. Where it crosses the y-axis. Catherine, that makes sense? You guys will get this, but you guys got to do it. You guys got to try. Phoebes, question.
Is the slope always 0 if it's point and no slope if it's
Yes. That's what that middle letter stands for. Phoebes, think about it. All right, get that next one done.
Done.
Jack Muir, what word?
Oh,
Talk to me.